Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Josh?
Yeah, great, thank you. And it's a pleasure to speak to you for this film. And I'd love to know when you're tackling a story that needs a lead who's obviously incredibly physically capable, does having a former Wonder Woman on your side maybe give you a little bit more confidence going in?
That was certainly fairly uppermost in my mind when I was going through the casting process. I love the idea of taking someone like Gal, who is known, as Wonder Woman, obviously, but putting her in a very real world. So the London in this film that she runs through, the whole movie pretty much, she's running and she's going through the city, all different neighborhoods of the city. And so you've got this larger than life, comic book character in some people's heads, but she's in a totally real world. And that contradiction really tickled me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she is so great in this film, as is Damian Lewis as the caller. And he
Mm.
reminded me a lot, actually, of Keith Sutherland's role in Phone Booth. So, what was it that made Damian the right choice for this part? And what did he bring to the character that you particularly responded to?
Well, Damien is my neighbor in London, and I thought it would be nice to keep it in the neighborhood. And but he's a great, great actor who's played many different roles, and he's particularly good at this kind of sinister, kind of never melodramatic, but just kind of like hovering around somewhere, like you feel like he's like maybe a cool assassin or something. He's not he never overplays. And I think in a movie like this, if we'd gone melodramatic, the whole movie would have fallen apart. So that's really what I appreciated in his role. He never overplayed it at all, and he's much more sinister for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned London. It is an extremely busy city. So, how much was it of a challenge was it to film there and follow Maya throughout the capital as she goes on this quite intense, crazy journey in the film?
Well, you can imagine filming in London at any time is difficult, but when the entire movie pretty much is on the streets and you have to join up, because she's running a real route that you could run through from North London down to south by the river. And so we had to film every bit, along the route. You couldn't skip a whole section or suddenly go somewhere else because everyone in Britain would go, hang on a minute, that's not, Covent Garden isn't next to Camden. It meant that we had to sort of piece together the permissions because it's very hard to get permission to film in some of these places. So one day would be down by the river, and then the next day we'd be up on Hampstead Heath, and the next day we'd be somewhere else. So you're moving around, but you're having to try and make it feel like continuity. But another thing we did a lot on this film that I think was very unusual was we actually filmed on live streets a lot. We didn't close a lot of the streets. We just had real crowd, and Gal would run through, and people would be like, "Who's that? That looks like Gal." And we'd have some hidden cameras around the place, and you got these great reactions, which of course are appropriate to the film, because in the film she's this desperate woman running through the crowd, and most people are on their phone, they're not noticing, but the people who do notice, that works for the movie.
Absolutely. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for your time. This is such a tense thriller, and I had a great time watching it, and I'm sure other people will as well. So it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you.